Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Development and Management Committee. My name is Councillor Mohammed Adnan, and I will be the chairman of this committee. And we'll just quickly do a quick introduction before we start the actual meeting.
I'm Emma Barker, I'm the legal advisor to the committee.
Angela, I'm the planning officer.
Ashley Cliff, councillor for Horsfield and Woodside.
Sarah Coburn-Price, Paulsworth and Fulridge.
Good evening, David Gallia, Barrowford and Pendleside.
Mick Waddington, Vifery Bridge.
Councillor Faraz Ahmed from Wolverton and Whitefield.
Sajjad Ahmed, Brighton and Cloverhill.
Yvonne Tennant, Marsden and Southfield.
Joanne Eccles, the Committee Administrator at Pendle Council.
Thank you. Do you want to go in first?
Yeah, I can do, thank you, Chair. I just need to give formal dispensation for Councillor Waddington to make planning decisions at this meeting because he's not done the planning training, but as Deputy Monitoring Officer will allow you to carry out your function tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1 on the agenda is appointment of Vice Chair. Yeah, Councillor Sajjad.
Can I move Councillor Faraz as the Vice Chair of this committee?
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for
I'll
that?
second that.
We'll take a vote on that. All those for?
Okay.
You can, yeah. And all those against? So you'll be appointed, Councillor Faraz. Thank you. Item 2, does any member have any declaration he or she wishes to declare? No, thank you. Item 3, could we please approve the minutes of the meeting which was held on the 14th of April?
I'll move them.
Thank you. Seconder, please. That's fine, thank you. Planning applications. So the first planning application is 26/0018/VAR, variation of condition. Vary condition 2 plans of planning permission 25/0431/HHO at 33 Hayhead Street in Brafield. Peter, would you like to come in first and quickly explain the application, please?
So this is a variation of a previously approved scheme. So that's what the approved scheme looked like. It's for the side extension, that one. So this variations to change the materials, approved materials, which is buff bricks to match the existing. And that's, so this is what was originally submitted and that's how it's been built on site. The latest updated plans submitted is that a photograph of the material is included in the update report. It's basically they want to put it on top of the already built marble walling, so it's going to be stuck on that. So that's the final updated design submitted.
That's fine, thank you. Do any councillors wish to come forward? Councillor Coburn-Price.
So I was asked on site what I thought about this, and it's one of the most egregious exterior treatments I've ever seen. And what the picture doesn't show you is the gold striations and the gold edging that really, in this ordinary domestic street scene, looks quite ridiculous. It's next to a row of really ancient cottages with beautiful stone roofs, and it stands proud of them, so that as you turn into the road, it's the very first thing that hits you in the face. But the planning application isn't for the retention of what we saw this afternoon. It's for these kind of stick-on bricks. And even these stick-on bricks would in no way be the same as the rest of the bungalow. Obviously, the plan. Oh dear, it's brought it back to me again. The stick-on bricks would in no way be the same as the houses round. So you've got your ancient cottages behind where this picture is taken. Across the road, you've got some sort of 1990s stone effect houses, and then further up the road you've got some sort of buff render houses. It's all very low key and all the colour palettes are the same, so I suppose that they feel that the stick-on bricks would in some way go with that. But I point out that the original application was for matching the actual host dwelling, and if you read the officer's report, it just is really, really clear It says that the development appears incongruous and materially disconnected from the host dwelling. That's absolutely true. It's on a prominent corner plot position. Absolutely true. Highly visible from multiple public vantage points. True. And it would appear as a dominant and discordant feature. It's certainly true that the stick-on bricks would be less dominant and less discordant than the black and gold. I don't think that's marble, by the way. I think it's porcelain tiles. If it was marble, it wouldn't look like that. So there would be less discordant than that. But still, if you go down to the bottom of page 5, it says it clearly represents poor design, resulting in demonstrable harm to the character and appearance of the dwelling and the wider area, contrary to policies DM16 and DM24 of the Pendle Local Plan 4th edition 2021 to 2040 and Adopted Design Principles SPD. So it's really clear that we should be refusing this, and I move that.
Thank you. Councillor Cliff.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, something is unusual when people who don't live in a place ring you up and say, have you seen that in Briarfield? And that happened to me about 6 months ago. I think that's roughly when this is dated, actually. Is it? Oh, that's March, isn't it? Well, it was months ago anyway. I got a phone call from a couple of different people and said, have you seen that house in Briarfield? And I had to drive through to have a look. I thought I'm going to go and see for myself. And as soon as you turn the corner off what was it, Halifax Road? Yeah. You can see it. You can see it straight away. So in some ways, it's an unfortunate lay of the land positioning. You know, geographically, it's just there. You just see right in front of you as you turn up the street. But then as you look around the area in terms of context and vernacular, as Sarah says, it doesn't work with anything there at all. But when you look at the original planning application that was approved, you go, that's fine, So you've got permission for something, and it was all fine, and it worked well with everything in the area, and then you've chosen to do something completely different, and then come back and ask for permission. I'm rarely a fan of retrospective planning permission. I think that you should ask permission before you do something, not expect that you're going to get it afterwards. So that always gets my back up as a councillor anyway. I think that you should try, and that's why we have retrospective process, because you can't always foresee things, you can't always foresee problems, and so you should always try to work within the rules. So I'm happy to second Sarah's refusal on this, based on the recommendation set out and the reasons set out, because the design is just completely at odds with everything around it.
Thank you. Councillor Farras.
Yeah, Atira or Emma, I don't know if you could help me on this one. I have been to the site a couple of times actually, yeah. And I do somewhat agree to my colleagues with the tile effect, and I'm not really keen on tile effects. I'm currently working on a 300-year-old house, and I'm absolutely loving the historical aspect of it all and everything. But I just wanted to ask, with regards to this one, when I did pop round, I was taking a nosy, and I think the resident actually came out and spoke to me, and I did tell him who I was, and I said I wasn't really keen on this, but if there was a change on just the fascia of the house, well, from what you can see, not inside the porch area, and that went back to brick, the original planning application, would that be suffice? Because as you can see, that porch area, as it enters, that is the interior of that is tiled. But I'm only looking at the fascia. What we can see here now is what the eye can see, as in like where the window is, the porch area, and the entrance area to the right, and that little tile area to the left. So what you'll see on the exterior side of it is the actual brick. If we're happy with that, and the interior is tiled, is that fine?
So are you saying, through you, Chair,
Yeah.
only the gable side would be brick, but the other side would be still marble?
The interior of the porch.
Inside
Or
porch, yeah.
Just the interior,
Still
where
exterior,
that chap
yeah.
stood, right behind that chap, because obviously that interior section is tiled, which we can see. I was looking at the exterior side, so obviously if someone's in passing, they will still see the actual brick wall of the house, which you can see to the side of the house where that van's parked. So you'll still see that look, but the interior will still be tiled, which doesn't really affect the exterior look of the building, because the exterior look will still be bricked as it is on the other side and as what was planned.
That isn't what they've applied for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've not applied. Yeah.
No, not that though.
Not that.
Yeah. Because when he spoke to me, there was some idea of cladding. I goes, no chance. Because I goes, that stuff will come off after time. And, you know, there's no harm in getting a planning application. And then soon, oops, it's come off. I can't afford to put it back on. Then it comes back into enforcement, etc. Emma. But I was thinking, actually, the tile comes off and the bricks go in. And in terms of the external side of the house. I was just concerned about the interior section, where that entrance is, and the entrance to the right, the pedestrian entrance to the right. If that's still tiled, is that suffice?
In my view, if all of the external walls,
Yeah.
like you say, it's going to be matching with the existing
Yes.
building, and just the interior, I mean, the porch is an open porch, it would still be visible. It would be down to how much of a visual impact it would have.
Yeah.
Um,
Because, I'm happy to approve it, provided the exterior side is actually what was originally planned for with the brickwork, but the interior stays as it is.
Through you, Chair, that's not what we can't grant that, because that's not what they've applied for. So as a committee, you can't change what they've applied for. They'd have to make another. You'd have to refuse the application tonight, and then they'd have to make another application for that.
But, sorry, Chair, just back to that again. Obviously, the application is for the exterior side, isn't it? What happens within the porch area, you can do what you want. It doesn't make a difference.
I mean, if it's inside the house, that classes as interior, right?
Thank
but
you, yeah.
anything that's visible from the outside
Well, it'll be visible,
would
though.
still. It's an open porch. It would still be visible.
Yeah.
The assessment would be how much of it would be, how much the visual impact would be.
Yeah.
In my view, it would still have a visual impact on the overall house, because the material is still going to be visible from the front elevation.
Okay.
But again, like Emma said, that's not what the application is about.
Councillor Waddington, and then we'll bring Ash in. Sorry.
Well, for Councillor Faraz has already mentioned, if the treads stick on the tiles, there's nothing for the adhesive to actually bond to the tiles.
Yeah.
And just months they'll be dropping off. And I do totally agree with what you were saying. So for me, I couldn't agree to the tiles going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. So, see, with my side is if the tiles came off and they actually put the brick wall up, and who knows behind that, I doubt it, but it'll just probably be rendered before they put the tiles on. But if they put the brick walls on at the front, I'd be very comfortable with that. But not comfortable with the cladding, obviously.
Outside one, yeah.
But as long as the exterior's got the brickwork in, because what goes on inside behind that porch area, that I don't mind what goes on inside as long as the exterior looks like that. Obviously, through the porch, you will see sections of black tiles with this gold or whatever it is, but that's within the inside curtilage of the house. Because easier said than done. If they, let's say, decided to put a black wall in front of it or whatever, they blocked it all off. That's still the interior side of the house, which will have no visual impact at all to the outside. But I just can't see it being much of a problem, really. And it does perk up the area.
So you're thinking of the inside bit of the porch almost being like waterproof wallpaper, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I did request this one.
Yeah, but if
Go on,
sorry,
go on.
just going back to the interior, then obviously it's open to everything anyway at this moment in time. So, are you now deciding on what tiles to put on in there? Which is a bit unfair, really, isn't it?
Want to come in? Councillor, so
I would,
sorry.
please. There are many properties with porches, and if I owned a house that had a porch like this, and someone knocked on my door, would they be inside or outside? They would be outside. So this is the outside of the building. We're talking about the outside of the building, which you can see. Now, we're not talking about a stone wall. If anywhere it said here, this will all be replaced with stone wall, we probably wouldn't be sat here.
No, we'd have gone.
We'd have gone, it'd be fine, it'd be approved. What has been applied for is what I would consider Timu stick-on brick. It's not an effect. It's an effect. It's not a construction material. It's an effect which is stuck on. As Councillor Waddington said earlier, it would struggle to adhere. That's why, by the by, for me, the material choice in itself is the wrong material choice in design terms, and that's what we're here to look at. So it is wrong. Now, you know, I don't like these effects on anything. I think it makes things look pastiche. It makes them look like Disneyland. Now, there are lots of different material choices that could have been chosen when you look around the different properties, because as Councillor Coburn-Price said, we've got render, we've got pebble dash, we've got buff brick, we've got real stone on all of the neighbouring properties. If any of those material choices had been used on this property, we wouldn't be here. We're here because this is incongruous. It is the wrong choice to make in this particular location, and that's why we've both moved refusal. I struggle to see how anyone can see that an open porch would be considered an internal wall, whether you consider it a tile or a waterproof wallpaper, which made me giggle for some reason. but yeah, it's either way. Those surfaces are on the exterior of the building and incredibly visible, whether you're a pedestrian or you're travelling by car.
Any other speakers?
I know I can understand exactly where you're coming from, and you know, even looking at it here, I don't like it at all, you know, and it's not about that. I'm just looking at the interior side. As long as this fascia's out and it's back to brick like it was.
That's not the application that we're looking at.
But is there any way we can delegate grant consent subject to a tier or not?
No, you'd have to refuse this application. They'd have to make that application
for
what you've
whatever
just
they
mentioned.
want.
Yeah.
We have to want the bricks and the entrance to the porch.
For the interior, okay.
But we're able to delegate grant consent. Because we've done it in area committee and stuff as well. Like, leave it to the planning officers based on whatever vote gets
But
taken.
they can only make a decision on the application that's been made, which is to change it to these stick-on bricks. That's just with regards to the conditions if you were delegating. And you can't condition what they've not applied for.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It is, but it's just, I just don't want it to be slamming the door on me that you're trying to help people as well, aren't we? Can we not defer it?
Allow them to submit new plans.
And just refuse it and they can submit new plans.
Could they amend it to that era? Or would it be a new
Already amended
application?
it.
But was this a new application?
I'm sure
Whatever
they
came
can
today?
defer it, can't they? Well,
This wasn't a new plan, was it?
Sorry.
Was this a new plan or was it just amendments?
It was a variation of a previously approved one. So this was the variation that was applied for.
And then what did this come in? Sorry.
Sorry?
I don't know whether we went front of it. That's the variation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what about this report that's been sent
So
today?
that was submitted, I think, last week. They submitted updated plans.
I think you're going to for the next meeting, submit a new plan.
Just like they did with this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Because we have in the
I
past
think from a
deferred it.
planning
yeah,
perspective,
couple of times, yeah.
could they, on the same variation, submit an amended plan that included the brick on the outside and the gold, this black and gold
Yeah.
on the inside, or would they have to make a new application for that? A new variation application?
I mean, it's only to, let me just check.
Just bear with this, Chair.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's
So
only
basically, this stick-on stuff,
really condition
Obviously,
plans, right?
we're deferring it for them to give us another opportunity to go back to
to submit to what you said, though, isn't it?
to go back
As
to
the
brick.
brick,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just the inside.
And then the inside will come as an application, and we'll see what a
Yeah, we've decided that, yeah, you could do that. You could defer it for them to submit amended plans.
Yeah, then that's their choice then after that.
I'm happy to second Councillor Flowers.
That's fine, thank you.
Would they be told that the stick-on things will be unsuitable before they
Yeah.
submit? Yeah.
Can we add that on then, or how would that work?
Well, they could just, you could get in touch with them, couldn't you? And
Yeah.
Just tell them that the stick-on is not
Yeah,
suitable.
yeah.
So is that what you're moving then, Councillor Farras? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm happy to move that, but I'm really surprised they've actually decided to put stick on there, but that's a different story.
Right, that's fine. So we'll take a vote on the amendment which was moved by Councillor Farras Ahmed and seconded by Councillor Sajjad. All those for? All those
Yeah.
for? And all those against? Then I'll use my casting vote for defer it basically and see the new plans. Second application is 26 stroke 0071 stroke HHO demolition of the existing single story rear extension and the erection of a single story rear extension. Athena, before we do start, just a quick one, not on this one. The height is mentioned as being 3.3. What is the current height? Is it 2.2 at the minute?
Yeah.
I mentioned that at the lowest.
The current extension is
Oh,
2.2.
yeah. Thank you. Right, Athena, would you like to speak on it first and then leave it to the councillors after that?
Yeah, so this is a mid-terrace property, and it already has an extension that goes all the way up to the rear boundary, and it's sloping down up to a height of 2.2 meters. The proposal is to demolish that and put a uniform extension of 3.3 meters high all the way up to the boundary. So here the main issue is it's the existing extension is already breaching the 4-meter rule. It's more than 4 meters. So what had to be considered here is whether the proposed one would have a greater, the existing one already has impact, whether the proposed one would have a greater impact on the residential amenity of neighbours. And based on the officer's assessment, it would, and it was recommended for refusal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Councillor
So,
Farras.
Atira, I was there last week actually. I took a nose there, but you know the houses opposite, they're a lot higher, which I didn't quite understand, because if they're a lot higher, I know this is low, but I didn't seem to understand why they wanted to just go up. It's literally a metre, isn't it?
Are you talking about just the neighbours or
No,
their impact on the
this
neighbours?
particular one.
Right. I mean, that's a separate application, and each application has to be dealt with on its own merits.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm not sure what happened in those ones. I'll have to check.
Because I know historically, as I know some of my colleagues over there, I have this serious issue about mid-terraced blocks where people have kitchen extensions, and you know you might have the whole block with a full kitchen extension, and a couple of the ones that we've dealt with, they've not gone all the way; they've had to come back a metre, which actually, I went to see one on Vernon Street that we dealt with quite recently. The extension has been done now, but because of that 1 metre, it looks really odd compared to the other extensions that are all full out up to the boundary. Whereas this one, the only change here is the increase, isn't that right, in height?
Yeah.
So it's only 1.1 metre increase?
1.1.
Yes.
I can't seem to understand why that would make a difference.
It does make a difference, obviously, because the house is on a slight slope and it would plunge the house next door into quite a lot more shade because of the height of that extension. That's what the report says. The increase in height along the shared boundary, given that it is more than 4 metres in projection out from the rear wall, would result in an unacceptable amenity impact on the occupants of number 45 Stanley Street.
Councillor Sutcliffe.
Thank you, Chairman. Today shows the importance of a site visit because having looked at the plans, I felt a little bit like you, Councillor Ahmed. I just thought, you know, it looks reasonable. It looks reasonable in scale. I read the officer's report and thought, okay, they want a larger than average kitchen extension. Want to take it to the rear boundary wall, which I'm not necessarily against. It's about what the impact is on the neighbours. And there was a strange thing that I observed, which actually I knew quite well because I lived in a house very much like this one, and my dad built a kitchen extension that had a sloping roof and he wanted a pitched one. And it was for the exact same reason. And the reason being is that when you stand in the back street there and you look at the house, you step down into the yard. So before you go in, you're already dropping down. And so the buildings are all much taller than you straight away. And that has a huge impact on the tunnelling effect of the for the neighbours and with the neighbouring properties. So it's really overbearing. And having lived in a property where we had to amend our kitchen extension, well, it was designed in a particular way to not have that tunnelling effect, I can see fully that you can do it, you can make it work. And one concern that I did have, and I'm wondering whether Athera can tell me about this, is that actually the amount of yard space that's left leaves me quite concerned as to whether actually you could, because it's actually wider as well.
It is.
And because the gate's moved over, whether you'd be able to keep your wheelie bins in the yard and still be able to pass them, because it looks very narrow in the passageway through. Is that something you'd be able to tell me, Athera?
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
We're looking at because the proposal is wider, and the gate's moved over. Would you be able to comfortably fit? What? How many wheelie bins would you have? Three.
Three, yeah.
In that yard and still be able to pass them.
It's difficult to say. Without
I thought
actual
so.
measurement.
It's not. You know, genuinely, and I don't even mean it in an awkward way. Could you do that? Because if not, straight away you've got a serious issue.
See,
Where do you put your bins?
Yeah, see, Chair,
Yeah.
a very similar scenario to this. I think Neil was here a couple of meetings ago, not this one particular, I think it was the area committee, or was it DM? Obviously, from the door you see on the right-hand side, you could probably get the bins in. But there was a similar application that was up for approval, was the Star Cycling Club, where there was a takeaway going to be built, a stroke restaurant. And we had the same scenario in terms of the bins. And the bins were actually the largest skip bins, which would have never fitted in that little backyard that the Star Cycling Club would have had. And obviously these are the big bins with the wheels, that have to, the big metal wheels. And that was the same scenario, but I think the bins would fit through there. But I can't see much of a problem with that really, because the extension, it's just literally gone wider, and the overbearing, like I said, Councillor Sutcliffe, is you know my situation with regards to these tunnel vision back streets, and I can't see a problem with them. And obviously I've debated them on a couple of occasions previously as well, and I can't see a problem with that at all, in terms of approving that. Even in terms of the height, if there was a height issue, I don't think the major issue is the height. Is it, Athera?
Yeah, here, and because the extension is the same, the projection is still the same. The main issue will be the height, and also it's much closer to the boundary, so
Yeah.
those are the two issues.
But there's already a current extension that's at the boundary, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's already at the boundary at the moment.
it is.
yeah, on the other boundary, yeah.
Like I said, historically, I don't have an issue with these kind of extensions, and I'm very for such extensions, because many streets in my area, in my ward, have these, and most of the streets are terrace blocks, especially around Vernon Street that I've debated, in Chapel House Road that I've debated in the past. So I'm happy to approve that.
That's fine. Just before I bring you in, Sarah, sorry. I think actually, I don't know, on the existing layout, it does say there's a shed there. I think they're getting rid of the shed, so I think bin
they've moved
space
the
might be
gate.
okay.
But the building moves over, the building becomes bigger, wider, and the gate moves over. So the gate's not in the same place on the plans.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
So that's my concern. And if you actually look at the rear, look at the proposed layout of the building on the
right-hand side.
yeah,
in the
that
middle.
one. It literally looks like it's the width of the gate all the way down, and I struggle to see how you could open that gate and have a wheelie bin in there and still get past it.
Councillor Corbyn Price.
Okay, so I listened to you sounding so positive and cheery and saying what it is that you're happy with. But I just remind you that we're not here to say what we're happy with. A lot of the time, we're in the position in Cone where we have to approve things that we're really not happy with, but because the Pendle Local Plan or the National Planning Policy Framework says it is the thing, and the officer's report very clearly says that that's what we've got to do, we quite often, don't we, Ash? We quite often say we're really not happy with it, but we know that legally that is what we have to do. And we have just finished, at a cost of hundreds of thousands of pounds, doing the Pendle Local Plan. And that was approved in January. So we have got to follow the design principles, the SPD, within the Pendle Local Plan. And it's not different in Briarfield, and it's not different in Nelson, and it's not different in Cone, or Fence, or Barrowford. It's the same across the patch. So whatever our personal view is, whether we've lived in terraced houses, and we both have, whether we've experienced things, whether we know the neighbours and we like them, none of that is a thing that we can consider. We can only consider the Pendle Local Plan Design Principles SPD, and this could not be more clearly laid out on page 9 if we tried. So I move refusal because we have to be consistent across Pendle.
Yeah.
Yeah, just coming back, I respect what you're saying, Councillor Corbyn Price. It's just that, you know, I was born and bred in the Wolverton and Whitefield ward. And, you know, I've had the luxury of working with the residents of that ward for many, many years, even when I was working within the council. The thing is with this now, over the years, there's been many extensions that have been very similar in these terraced blocks. I could mention many on Beaufort Street, Vernon Street, Camden Street, Pont Street, along the line. And they've all had very similar extensions, so I can't see the problem with this particular one. Like I said, historically, I know I've worked on a couple on Vernon Street here and Chapel House Road here, but I can't see the problem, and a bin will go through that door, that gate, and there is some space to the right of it, as you can see. So I can't see a problem with that at all, so I'm happy to approve that.
I have to say, look at it, that looks exactly like the back of my house, or at least the original one does. We have to shimmy round the bins. It's not nearly as wide as that extension. Yeah, no, I think you could probably get the bins in, you could probably get the bins out, but actually getting around the bins to get them in and out would be a completely different kettle of fish altogether. Yeah, so I agree with Councillor Sutcliffe on that. I think that would be a bit tricky.
If you actually look at the picture, if we could zoom in, we could see that if it is drawn to scale, that we've got sort of only 1 and a bit bricks worth on the other side of the gate.
Yeah.
Talking about the picture that's in the bottom right.
Okay, Chair.
Councillor Waddington.
Oh, sorry, Waddington.
And then I'll sorry.
Right. Obviously, I've been on the site visit to look at that. And the house on the left is slightly taller, the extension to this one. And I appreciate this one, the ridge is going to be a lot higher. But what's not being taken into consideration is the reduction in light for their own house and the neighbours. And in that respect, is that fair on the neighbour? Because they're going to have to put the light on more often, and it's going to cost them a lot more money in electricity. No one spoke about that bit. I mean, for me, sorry.
It's in the reports on page 9.
Right, sorry. But for me, I think it's overbearing.
Yeah. Okay. So, a Atira, just to put you in a bit of a... Why have they lowered the height but kept the width?
Chair, so with the height being one of the main concerns, if the height was matching what's existing there, then it would be much less or a neutral impact. So it would be a judgment to make whether how much, say if it's like by 20 meters, if you're increasing the height, there would be a judgment to be made there whether that 20 centimeter increase would have a material impact here.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much the height is to be increased.
So, sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
So, Atira, if they kept the height as it is, but don't forget it's going to be a pitch.
No, so if it is going to be a pitched one, so are you saying a pitched roof at 2.2 meters? Because that's the lowest, that's the height of the lowest point.
Will that bring the roof slightly low? I'm just saying, as you can see, the height of the current extension, which is 2.2, correct?
Yeah, the current was 2 point.
So if they kept it the same with the pitch at 2.2,
Oh, there's no pitch.
I believe that is 2.2 based on the report, not that. So if you keep a pitched roof at that height, I think that would probably have less of an impact.
You wouldn't be able to get through the door
Yeah, it's just a bit.
if it was a pitched
being an
roof
issue.
at 2.2 at the ridge.
Yeah.
Councillor Waddington.
I mean, for me, if they got rid of the ridge
and kept it flat.
and kept it flat at a slight slope or to the side, that'd be fine for me. Green mineral, you know, for me that wouldn't
Yeah.
be detriment to any neighbour because it's still same height, just means it'll be wider.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. But can we approve it at that though?
No, through you, Chair, it'd be the same situation as the last application. They'd have to submit amended plans.
Okay, so can we go with that way then?
Yeah, I second that.
Was that defer it to the measurements that you've mentioned, or
Yeah.
It's like planning advice. Sorry, Chairman. Through you. Things come to us to make a decision. It's not for us to give advice, and it feels very much if we're going to sit here and defer again, that it's like being used for free planning advice through Athera being here and through the legal advice of Emma Barker being here. That is an abuse of this committee, in my opinion. We're here to make decisions. For me, it's quite clear. We've had an application previously where the recommendation from officers was very clear. We've got another one where it's very clear again. We need to start making decisions on this. And as Councillor Coburn-Price said, there's a very clear way through this with the SDP, which is recommended through the planning, the local plan. Where does it stop?
But as councillors, I think we should still give residents opportunities, and this is a way of giving them the opportunity to make the change.
Which they can if it's refused. They can still come back with another planning application. We're not saying that they can't.
But they can still make the
but
decision.
this is a decision that we have to make in this committee.
But this is where we're giving them the opportunity, so it can be deferred for them to make that decision. Correct, Atira?
If you're asking my view, it's been through the area committee, and there's been no amendments between the area committee and the DM committee. So they knew that the area committee, what the decision was at that point, and
What was the decision at area? Was it deferral or was it approval?
I think it was a one. What
It
was
was
one? Yeah.
referred to DM.
It was approval to go to the
So it was approved.
It was referred from the Nelson Area Committee. Yeah, so it must have been approved. Yeah.
So it was referred by the officer.
recommended for approval.
So I'm still comfortable to go for the deferral.
Do you have a second on the?
Yeah, I'm going to second that.
Do we have any other speakers before we move to the vote on that?
Chairman,
Yeah.
Councillor Coburn-Price proposed a refusal, and I'd like to second that. So whether it's a straight for or against or whatever, just make sure that that's properly recorded.
Take the first on vote deferral or the refusal. Then defer, so look at the refusal first.
Yeah.
Right, so first we'll be taking a vote on the refusal, which was moved by Councillor Coburn-Price and seconded by Councillor Art Sutcliffe. All those for the refusal? All those against the refusal? So that's been refused. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Weird. I was looking for my coat. Enjoy the cheerleading. I'm most impressed. Thank you.